Hey everybody, welcome to a new series I'm starting where we're going to take some of our interesting matchups and some of our best games and do some commentary over them. So for this first episode, we're going to be doing Red Black Sabo into Emu. In this matchup, I rolled the high roll and opted to go second, forcing my Emu opponent to go first, giving me an advantage right off the rip. I opted to keep the first hand I drew, as I had stage, and I will always mulligan for stage if I don't have it. Stage is integral for getting the engine of Red Black Sabo going, so it's definitely vital to have. And with the cut of the deck, the game can truly begin. He'll pull his hand here, set up his life, and get right into it. Fist bump for luck, of course. To start, my opponent plays a one-cost searcher, searching the top three, taking what he wants, and trashing the other two. He then uses leader effect to trash one, draw one. Now it's back to me where I set my 2 Dawn as active, draw for turn, and I immediately play the stage and pitch a stage to activate stage. I draw 3, looking for a revolutionary type card, which I believe this time I take the Sabo. Yep, there it is, and then I bottom deck the other 2 in whichever order I choose. My next move will be to activate the one-cost searcher event, which will let me draw 3, take 1, and trash the rest. This time I go for the Bello Betty, as I still have not seen quite what I'm looking for. Now we go back to Emu on the 3 Dawn turn, drawing 1 for turn, and immediately trashing 1 to draw 1 again using the leader effect. My opponent decides to attach 1 Dawn and swing 6 no life. Right now I decide to take because I am a 4K leader until I'm down to 3 life. He then plays out a blocker and trashes 1 for the on play. Alright, back to me. First I draw for turn, restand Dawn, stand 2 more Dawn, but the one thing I forgot to do was restand my stage, which is a bummer because I love being able to cycle cards off stage. And if I'm not careful, that could be a costly mistake. You'll start to notice sometimes it takes me a little while before I decide how I want to approach the turn. I'm working on making these decisions a little faster, but you'll see I start off with the Bello Betty, searching 5, looking for a revolutionary type character besides Bello Betty. I opt to take the Koala, as I'm still searching for the 8-cost Black Dragon. That's another key part of the engine of Red Black Sabo. And we search some more because we're still looking for that Black Dragon. And there he is. He finally decides to show his face. And with our last 2 Dawn, we decide to attach it to our 4K leader bumping him up to a 6k leader and swinging 6 at life. My opponent decides to take the first swing, no trigger activating, and it's his turn now. They draw for turn and immediately play the searcher they top decked. Searching top 3, trashing the 2 they don't like. You'll notice he's getting his trash ready, as when he hits his 10 Dawn turn, he'll be able to summon the 5 Elders. He next activates leader ability to trash 1, draw 1. With 4 Dawn standing, he decides to swing 5 at life. I contemplate, but end up taking it as I'm now happy to be a 5k leader again. He then brings out a 3-cost Bartolomeo blocker, which is a new one I have not seen run before in Emu. It's a 2k counter, and it probably brings a little extra defense to the deck. Alright, back to me. I draw for turn and refresh all of my Dawn. Restand everything. Going into my 6th Dawn turn, there's really only one move to do for me, which would be to play the 6-cost secret Sabo. Which is exactly what I do. I bring out the 6-cost Sabo, activate his ability, making him an 8-cost, and attaching a Dawn to my leader, making my leader a 7k attacker. Sabo's leader effect is if I have 1 Dawn attached, if I have a character with a cost of 8 or more, my leader and all characters gain plus 1,000. This effect also lasts through my opponent's turn, which is nice, because that means I'm a 6k leader on their turn. I go ahead and swing with lead, swinging 7 into 5, forcing them to use his blocker. It's about this time I realize I've passed turn and I forgot to refresh stage for the 2nd turn in a row. So I'll make sure to remember that for the next turn. My opponent summons another searcher, searching top 3. Taking the card he wants and trashing the other ones. He also activates his leader ability and trashes card, searching some more, trying to find, I believe he's looking for something to pop the Sabo, so he just keeps searching and searching and searching. And it looks like he finds the removal event here, but it may have taken him a little too long. He may have cost him a little too much Dawn to get there. You'll see him constantly checking trash, making sure he has enough cards in there to activate all of his extra effects. And he sends out another 1-cost searcher, drawing another top 3, taking 1, trashing the rest. And of course the card he takes is going to be that 10-cost 10 Elders card that lets him do all of his magic. You'll see him check trash again. He should have enough to give his Emu leader plus 1,000. And then he's going to attach some Dawn to Emu. I believe he attaches 3 and swings 9 into my 6,000 leader. I of course block this with Sabo, giving a 2k counter, and then it's back to my turn. You'll see this time I remember to refresh my stage, which is probably the most important turn to make sure I have this stage refreshed. On my 8 Dawn turn, the obvious play will be to play the 8-cost dragon, which takes 3 Revolutionary Army characters out of my trash and puts them at the bottom of my deck, and lets me play a character with a cost of 6 or less from my trash out onto the field. I remember to use my stage ability and pitch 1, drawing 3, looking for a Revolutionary Army type character. And I take the Black Dragon, the one I was just talking about. I believe I actually end up playing him out immediately as well. Yep, there he is, and this allows me to bring out another Sabo, as well as put 3 Revolutionary Army characters at the bottom of my deck. Now activating both Sabo abilities, I get to attach 2 Rested Dawn to my leader, giving everybody plus 1,000. After taking a moment to think about it, I decide to swing 8 into life and seeing what he does. He ends up taking that life. After debating it for a minute, I decide not to swing a second time and pass turn. After refreshing, my opponent draws for turn and then starts his leader effects cycle where he's going to trash 1 off the field and draw 1. He then decides to use stage effect, resting 3 Dawn, summoning Saint J. Garcia, and searching top 5. Here he takes the Equilibrium, which would let him pop one of my Sabos if he wants to put the Dawn towards it. He takes a minute to think here as a lot rides on the next moves he makes. He does decide to swing 6 with Emu. Emu has enough in trash to make it a 6k leader, swinging into 6k Sabo. I do give him the 1,000 counter to get out of it. He then decides to use the Equilibrium to pop one of my Sabos and passes back to me. This is a big turn for me to swing, as next turn he'll be on his 10 Dawn turn and he'll be able to summon all 5 Elders. So I gotta make sure I play this just right. I decide to activate stage. I believe at this point I'm searching for another 8-cost Black Dragon to bring out an extra Sabo as well. But since I don't see what I'm looking for, I take the 2k counter instead. And here I rest 8 to bring out another dragon, to bring out another Sabo. This is the engine I was talking about getting started. That way, if you need to, you can pitch the Sabo using stage effect, and then bring him back using the dragon effect as well. Next, I activate both Sabo effects, making them both 8-cost characters, as well as attaching 2 Dawn to my leader, getting ready for my big swing. And I take a moment to think about how I want to go about this. We start off strong, swinging 9k with our dragon, which he uses the Barto blocker for. I then swing again with leader, swinging 8k at life. Which he reluctantly gives 2k counter to prevent. I decide to hold off on swinging with the Sabo and end my turn. I probably could have swung with him and put a little extra pressure on, but I wanted to be a little bit more defensive for the 10 Dawn turn. He decides to swing 6 at life with St. J. Garcia. To which I give a 2k counter. He then does his leader effect, pitching his character and drawing a card, and then we all know what's going to happen next. Using his stage ability, he's going to use 3 Dawn and bring out the 10-cost 5 Elders, pitching another card along with that, and bringing out the 5 Elders characters. He also activates his on play, which lets him search the top 5, where he takes a Equilibrium. There it is, there's the Equilibrium. And with 5 Dawn still standing, I'm anticipating a big swing coming my way. Here comes the first swing. He's going to swing with Nesturo. He's going to minus my Sabo blocker 2k and swing at life. I counter by resting 1 Dawn and using Hair Removal Fist, which gives me plus 4k counter. Here comes the next big swing, which he decides to attach just 2 Dawn to his leader and swing 8 at life, leaving 2 Dawn standing for counter. I believe I end up actually taking this just to get another card in hand. And with that, it's my turn again. So I start my refresh stage and make sure I restand everything. Decisions, decisions, decisions. I first decide to use my stage, pitching a Sabo and drawing the top 3, looking for a revolutionary type card. Which I decide to grab another 2K counter. I'm gearing up for another big swing, so I rest 8 and I bring out the 8-cost Red Rush Dragon. This card, while having Rush, also lets me attach 2 Rested Dawn to any leader or character card. Which, after careful consideration, I decide to put on my leader. I also activate both Sabo effects, putting 2 more Arrested Dawn on my leader, bringing him up to a 10k leader. And I go ahead and swing 10k at life. Which he decides to use a blocker and negate that attack. Next, I decide to attack 10k with the Red Rush Dragon, seeing what his response is. Which again, he negates with a blocker. And we have another 9k big swing from the Black Dragon, which again he counters out of. On this next swing, I decide to attach a Dawn to the other dragon, making him a 10k swing, where he chooses to take life. Once again, I pass turn without swinging my Sabos. I would like to leave them standing to be blockers next turn. His first move this turn is to swing the Nosturo, minusing 2k from my Sabo. To which I counter out. He then decides to use Equilibrium and pop the other Sabo. Next, he takes a cheeky little swing with Lead. Again, I counter out. Immediately, he swings again, which I counter out again. This time by resting my Dawn and playing Hair Removal Fist, which leads into his third swing, which I decide to take that life, adding another card to my hand. And like clockwork, he rests 4 Dawn in his stage to bring out the 10 cost 5 Elders. Also pitching another 10 cost 5 Elders to bring out all 5 Elders from his trash. And because of this, I expect to see one more swing, but first he's got to draw his 5 cards from his on-play. Which he decides to take the Saturn blocker. To finish it off, we have another Nosturo swing, where he's going to minus that Sabo another 2k, so he's minus 4k. I decide to take the final life, knowing that I'm going to be going all in on my next turn. With nothing left to do, he passes turn back to me, and I start my refresh. I draw for turn, and then contemplate my next move very carefully, as this is going to be a make it or break it moment for me. I separate my Dawn, resting 8, and bringing out the Red Rush Dragon. This will allow me to attach another 2 rested Dawn to my leader or characters, which I opted to attach to my leader. There we go, there's that attachment, as well as activating the Sabo effect and attaching a 3rd rested Dawn to my leader, making him a 9k swinger. I still have 2 Dawns standing that I would like to allocate. I just got to figure out where I'd like to allocate those to. I decide to swing 10 at life with my first Red Rush Dragon. He decides to use his blocker and draws a card off of the on-KO effect. My next move is to swing 9k at life with the 8 cost Black Dragon, forcing him to burn off a lot of counter. After careful deliberation, I decide to attach 1 Dawn to the 8 cost Black Dragon, bringing it up to a 10k swing, swinging 10 at life. I want to make that swing high enough so that he can't counter out of it and he's forced to use a blocker or take the life. Which he decides to take the life this time, adding it to his hand. I swing 10k with the other Red Rush Dragon, and at this point, he realizes he doesn't have the counter to get out of this, so we call the game there, and I take the win on that one. Alright guys, if you're excited to see more content like this, leave a like, and to see more, make sure you subscribe.